Thank you for tuning in to the B&RS Show.
I'm 32. You're 33. I will turn 33 in about, what's today? We're almost through in November. I'll say in about 6 weeks. I'll say about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I'll turn 33. We've played a shitload of games our entire life. We have played a majority of the gaming consoles, the major gaming consoles of our lifetime.
Even like there was certain consoles that I felt because of the timeline in which we grew up that we missed, like the Commodore and ColecoVision and all that shit.
Yeah. Like really
those, I went back.
I
went back and played them as retro systems later on. So, but I wasn't within the craze of that time period.
Yeah.
And I think we have that luxury now that we could easily just get emulators and just fucking
and
go
I think
back.
that the gaming console, like the publishers, Nintendo, the console makers, Sony, Sega, they all obviously realized the nostalgic, attitude behind retro gaming, because they've all been releasing retro systems. But they had the the NES Mini first, and then they had the SNES came out the year after that.
You got to think though that has to be tied into the fact that emulation is free for anyone.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to take down a lot of those fucking ROM websites.
Yeah.
Because essentially you're just giving away intellectual property that you have no rights to. But again, a lot of these developers, while all these games have the license of Nintendo and Super Nintendo and all that shit, these are individual companies that represent each one of these games. Yeah. So that's like shaky ground.
It's shaky ground, like with the ROMs, and that's why when people would sell them and people would tell me this, I tell them, listen, what you are doing is fucking infringing on intellectual property. You can download it for you to use, and that's what that is. That's it's like what do you call it? Like
freeware.
Freeware. If you download it for your intention, for you to use and enjoy, that is totally cool, and that's why the ROMs are available like that. But if you download it for profit, for you to sell, package it up, bundle it up, and sell it on these, these boxes or these sticks, then that's where you're infringing on copyrights. You're infringing on intellectual properties.
It's not even like, you have those multi games that they'll have like 99 in one, and it's just a bunch of brick-based games.
Yeah, it's not
like
even
Snake,
that.
Tetris,
no,
and shit
it's
like
not
that.
It's the actual games on the actual systems.
Mario Brothers, and
you'll have all of them. You'll have everything if you want. The people that know what they're doing with these things. If you give these people a 32 gigabyte mini SD on one of those sticks, they'll get you every cartridge-based game.
One of the things that I was looking into when I was trying to start like a drop shipping company, because I had put together this thing called Retro Shop. I was trying to sell just retro experience shit.
Yeah.
They have these handheld consoles now. They're almost like Game Boys or little Game Gears that they come preloaded with like a 32 gig fucking micro SD that has every fucking
like
game.
A fake PSP. It looked like a fake PSP.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And they have them all in different models. Like you could get like one that looks like, remember the Sega Nomad?
Yeah.
You can get that model. You can get the Game Boy model, but all the screens they're full color, and they have all
like
the fucking
LCD.
They have all the games. So when these companies, like the gaming companies, that they actually put out the retro systems with all the built-in games, that's only them trying to salvage some sort of sales on the retro side.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. You have even GameStop now for their stores that will be staying open. They'll be going through a remodel soon, in the coming years, and they'll be like in the coming year, and a restructuring of the company, and they'll be introducing into the stores that are staying open a retro gaming section. It's not going to only be right now. The only way you can get actual retro games from GameStop is online. And if you know GameStop, their big market is the resale market. And that's why Sony and PlayStation are both making such a concerted effort to have, cloud-based streaming services for backwards compatible games and for downloadable games because they're tired of the reselling market.
But I'm glad that you just said that because it sounded so complicated, and it just is only a testament to the fact that back in the day, gaming was just simple. And when these consoles came out, they were revolutionary for the time. It is not like they didn't have built-in memory. They didn't have any of the things that are just automatic.
Now.
Like now it's just industry standard. But back in the day, I remember on Sega Genesis, I wasn't able to get a PlayStation, so I went and I got myself Sonic 3D Blast. And when I saw the 3D, like, just power behind a Sega Genesis, I was like, holy shit. You don't know what these things are capable of.
Yeah. I mean, look at when I told you when we were here last time and we played, was that Madden 17 we played? Was that we played 16?
Yeah, 17.
17. We played Madden 17. And, I didn't even know it came out for 360. And we're playing it, and it looked graphically like they pushed it as far as they could on 360 on that engine. They pushed it to the max, and I'll say it. Like, the last one I played was Madden 25. And, on 360. And, it didn't look that good. Graphically, it looked great to see how they pushed it. And I'll tell you this. Do you want to know what was the last Madden released on PlayStation 1?
Which one?
It's like 2005, I want to say, or 4. On the original PlayStation.
2005?
Yeah, I'm going to Google it to make sure. One of those two. On the original Xbox, the last one, I believe, was Madden 07 or 08. It's crazy how far they'll still keep making games. Like, the last live on Super Nintendo was like Live 99.
That's crazy.
I believe it was either Live 99 or 98. But
that's
they'll still,
it.
on these older systems, they'll keep making games because they know people use them.
When Dreamcast came out, mind you, I didn't get a Dreamcast immediately. I never got any system immediately. I always waited a few years. But when Dreamcast came out, by the time I got the Dreamcast, it was already discontinued. So I had to go. I went into it with the mentality that now I have something that I can get everything for. Like, I went in with a cap already. So now it's almost like a collector's item. Can I get every Dreamcast game? And then Dreamcast it was a
05 was the last Madden on PS1.
Jesus. It was the fact that I could get every Dreamcast game and you could rig the Dreamcast to read like bootleg games. Those things, that shit didn't come in the manual.
It didn't. You had to learn that, man. I'll say this, man. Dreamcast was unfortunately a little bit ahead of its time. I won't say too far ahead of its time. A little bit ahead of its time. And Sega didn't really know what to do with it. And it
was also in direct competition with PlayStation 2, which is the greatest console of all time.
That's debatable.
For what,
yours,
for what is it?
If you want to use sales numbers,
no, I'm not talking about sales numbers.
It's not for me. That's not my number one.
What's your number one?
Original Xbox.
You was always an Xbox guy.
Nah,
you're still an Xbox guy.
After I got an Xbox, I was originally a PlayStation person, and until that PlayStation broke, and we bought another one, and then that one broke. Then it was like, yo, I'm done with you. I swore off PlayStation until I brought my PS4.
Yeah, what about the Red Rings of Death?
I didn't get a 360 until they fixed that. That's why I only had the original Xbox for about 2-3 years after the 360 came out. We waited on that because they didn't fix the Red Rings of Death. I never got the Red Rings of Death. Do you want to know why I had to keep replacing my 360?
Why?
My disk drive kept fucking up. That's the only reason I had to ever replace my 360 was my disk drive.
What about cartridges? Do you prefer cartridge or disc?
I'm gonna say honestly, I prefer discs only because the capacity and everything that comes with them. But I miss cartridges because there was never downloading any fucking updates.
There was barely any loading screen. Once you press
the loading
start,
screen was about the snap of a finger.
Literally just like a microsecond.
If that. 1 or 2 seconds tops. This would be the longest you get. 1 or 2 seconds.
And it was interesting to see, especially now that I've like tried to like develop games, just like mobile games, and I see how much goes into it. When you give someone a cap, it's like telling someone there's a big difference between someone's creativity when you say, all right, you got all this land, you could build whatever you want, and you tell someone else, this is your box right here, you got to make this shit hot. While this person could build a huge land, this person has got that concentrated, that shit is just right there, and they're going to pull out all the stops. And I think that's what made it forced people. It's almost like Vince McMahon when he had competition. It forces people to like make the most of what they have.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that has hurt the gaming industry right now is the over-reliance on the fact of patches. So you can release a game. You think
WWE would have released that fucking game
in a cartridge base?
In a fucking cartridge?
I think even the fact that WWE, the way they released No Mercy the way they did, I don't think they knew that cartridge was fucked up because people got rebates for that cartridge. If you had that cartridge and you took it back, that's why there's a few still out in circulation, but not that many. Because a lot of people that had it, if you had you could take it back, get the rebate, and you get a new one. And they took those all back. You know what I'm saying?
But that was faulty cartridges.
Yeah, that wasn't a broken game.
That was not a broken game.
That wasn't shitty coding. That wasn't bad programming.
And there was no patch. You basically gave the cartridge back. They gave you a new one that fucking worked.
That worked right, and you started over from scratch. But essentially, you were already doing that every couple of times with the cartridge you already had.
And when you create wrestlers, especially you have to recreate them all the time, you already know what the fuck it is.
Oh, bro. I could not do that shit now. Like, I love it now
consuming.
On these games, how they have the roster shares, they have the wrestler shares and all this stuff on all these games. And when it comes to WWE, it's like when you played at my house, when I had all the custom wrestlers, I didn't make those. I downloaded all those fuckers. And I would tell Lorenzo all the time, it's like, bro, you know how I love, like I tell people, I'm a sports nerd. I love to play like franchise mode on these games. Like if I'm the actual owner of the team and actually working with the league. And like I have fun playing it like that in my head. That's the way I play it. And I tell Lorenzo, there are people who enjoy playing it like that more than me. And they make these rosters. They make these draft classes. And that's why I can play these franchises the way I do and why I don't play online gaming. I don't want to go online. I don't want to play someone else because I don't want to deal with your connection. I don't want to deal with you exploiting glitches. I'll play the computer and enjoy it by myself. And where I can pause it. If it annoys me, I can quit and I can just play another game.
I think one of the revolutionary things back in the day was when they figured out how to make the regular cartridge-based consoles into like mobile format. So before emulators and shit like that, I mentioned it before, the Sega Nomad, when you can put an actual Sega fucking cartridge into this thing and take this shit on the fucking road with you.
Fucking Sega Nomad, bro.
Come on,
Game Boy
bro.
never made, Game Boy. Nintendo made Game Boy. But Nintendo, I don't think, now I know they do have
some shit now.
Now it's not a Nintendo thing, but where you can play actual like Super Nintendo cartridges on the go.
Yeah.
But why would you want some... a Super Nintendo cartridge is bigger than this can.
That's something you take to the beach when you're looking for attention.
Yeah.
You want to sit on the sand and just have people come up to, dude, what the fuck? That's like a Super Nintendo, man.
It is, bro.
It's literally the size of a Super Nintendo.
It is. It's like a handheld Super Nintendo. I got the sentiment behind it, but I can just download that game on my phone.
Look at the difference from Game Boy to Game Boy Color. Like, fuck what the Game Boys are now. Like,
just think about that. Just think about that. From Game Boy, but even before that, remember before Game Boy Color, they went to, what was it, Game Boy Mini?
Yeah.
Before that, when they just made it smaller, it wasn't the fat fucker anymore. You got the smaller version, and then came
those came in different colors.
Yeah, and then they Game Boy Color, and they launched with Pokemon Yellow, the Pikachu version, and then came with Game Boy Advanced.
Game Boy Advance,
and I think
that was like the predecessor to what the design of the fucking of the PSP would become.
Yeah, and I mean, Nintendo. I say Nintendo has always been the ones to push the envelope and attempt to be the most innovative. Nintendo's taken the most chances.
I mean, they probably have a lot of bank. What's the fucking?
I don't know what the market cap.
Let's see what their net worth is, because that's a question I never asked before.
I mean, compared to Microsoft though,
But for a gaming company, strictly
Fair
gaming,
enough.
Microsoft is
or
way beyond.
Sony. But then you have to remember how long they were in the game compared to these guys.
85 billion.
85 billion.
That's a lot of money, bro. And it's the third most valuable company in Japan.
Damn. Microsoft's net worth is now 1 trillion.
God damn.
That's unfair though.
But
that's
that's
all
that,
of Microsoft.
Yeah, that's
It's
not
just,
that's not just coming from gaming.
Let's see Xbox. Let's make it fair. Microsoft Xbox net worth.
$1 trillion.
That's not fair. What'd you say? For
85 bill.
85 bill. The Xbox market value, the Xbox that is used across the world, the market value of Xbox is 585 billion as of 2018. That says market share. I want net worth. 402.06 billion. That's so unfair.
Billion?
Billion. That's so unfair.
A lot of cheddar.
That's unfair though. Considering how long Nintendo's been in the game, I think that number's a bit unfair. I'm not even gonna go look at Sony for PlayStation's number.
But listen,
I think that number's a bit unfair.
You don't know Nintendo for like your charity work. You don't know Nintendo for clothing. You don't know Nintendo for nothing but fucking video games.
Video games. Then also, man, they own Pokemon. Just think about that.
They own Pokemon?
Nintendo owns Pokemon. That's Nintendo. Nintendo created Pokemon.
I didn't know that.
So I don't know how that number's that, man. I don't know if it's like a separate holding company or what, but they have they own.
That's probably
big
just what they're
stake,
claiming.
or they own a big stake of Pokemon. If they don't own it, they own a stake of Pokemon.
All the Pokemon money they keep in a Swedish bank.
Pokemon. Not catching them, but like I'll ask you right now. What was your before we close this up? I said mine was the original Xbox. That was my favorite. That's GOAT to me.
I'm going to say this not because of sales or articles or anything like that, but I'm going to stick with PlayStation 2. To me, PlayStation 2, for what it was and for the time in my life that it was everything that I needed. It was my best friend, my confidant, my right-hand man.
When our original PlayStation started acting up, and we had the Xbox at the same time, and we just couldn't get it fixed, I lost all love for Sony at that point. And we got it fixed, when Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out, and it conked out again. I was done with it at that point.
But your house was just cursed when it came to PlayStation, because there was at one point you had to flip your shit upside down just to get it to work.
That was the original, and it was the curse of buying consoles new, which is why I don't anymore. Is the fact that when you buy them new, they're brand new, there are bugs, there's glitches, there are things. Nick, remember we had to stand that motherfucker up vertically. We had to put it on a fucking diagonal angle. We had to flip it upside down to get it to work. We had to do, but that was the six-tail version that had all the problems. And I mean, we did it though, man. I mean, we had the problems with it. We did, no lie. But once we had that, man, Xbox gave me everything I needed from that point, man. And that's why I went to 360. But between the one and the PS4, when the one came out and the PS4 came out, my initial first build was PS4. And it was because I said, hey, I have a 360. If I want to make the jump to the next console, it's for the game I'm going to play most on that. And I wanted to play baseball. And baseball is a PlayStation 4 exclusive. So I only bought PlayStation to play baseball. And because I didn't have any friends with the Xbox One at that time.
I'm talking about, it was just, to me, the fact that the games were so fucking cheap. Because for that system, I used to go to GameStop, $5 games sometimes.
PS2?
Yeah. And I just racked up on a bunch of games, and I was already open off of that shit because.
But the thing that they told me too that I didn't know until much later, and why they were like that, and why sometimes the same game will cost a few more dollars for a different console, is that they have so many more copies for a different console. because there were more copies of it floating around. So I never knew that until later in life. But
Yeah, man. But this should actually make me want to get a PlayStation 2 again, just to see that.
I will say
opening.
this: when it comes to the PlayStation 2, I still want to get one because I never got to beat one game on it that I still want to beat, and I have to find it. I'm gonna get a PlayStation 2 just to beat it. Then I'm gonna sell it.
What game?
24 the game.
I don't know why I didn't guess that, bro.
You would have never guessed that 24 had a PlayStation 2 game. And I'll tell you, it played. I rented it from Hollywood Video before Hollywood Video went out of business, and it played exactly like 24, the TV
Hollywood
show
Video
aired. Like, it was a great game, man. It was an amazing game, and as a 24 fan, it bridges the gaps between season 2 and 3. And it's just, it was fun for me. It was fun for me for the bit of it I played it. I never ended it.
We need to start a gaming channel.
We do, and we also just need to accept that we don't have to stream straight off the system, man. But the thing is, we don't capture it. We have to have a capture and a capture card to do it, and
We'll figure it out. But you guys already know, man. Where do you follow us?
at Bud and Roach. And why do you follow us?
Because we do the fucking.
You hurt?
Thank you for tuning in to the Bud and Roach Show.